Kuna mtoto alikuwa amekuja akiwa na scissors and everything else. Scissors inasemaje? Hiyo scissors, hiyo seizure. Wacha whatever. Yeah, that's a better one. Convulsions. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Linda. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you are a returning subscriber, sinakutambua tena sana. So guys, today we are going to talk about a woman who killed 60 babies. Yes, ani aliua watoto 60. 1 2 3 60. And kitu nashangaa ni penye alitoa hiyo nguvu, but si tuendelee tujue mali alitoa hii nguvu. Genene Jones alizaliwa July 13th of 1950, and she was adopted by a very wealthy family, and wakati alimaliza shule ali get married to her high school sweetheart who went by the name Dylan Jr. Genene Jones alikuwa a pathological liar. Yani yetu ni kaongo. I think I've told you another story of a girl who was a pathological liar. These people don't really end up well. So parents, really look out for your kids who are pathological liars. Ama kama mtu tukanadanganya, try to rectify that, because for some reason I feel like it doesn't end well. So Genene Jones amemaliza shule, ameenda akakuwa beautician, hiyo kutengeneza nini hizo manicure whatever hizo vitu zote. Akaoleka na high school sweetheart went by the Dylan Jr. And in 1968 they get married, and they gave birth to a child went by the name Daniel, and 2 years later they divorced. So after divorcing, I think hapo kulikuwa na a lot of mukshi mambo mob, but in 1977 they rekindled their love, and when they rekindled their love, now at this point, which was in 1977, they gave birth to another girl or daughter who went by the name Heather. At this point, it is said that Genene Jones alikuwa ndasemaje venye alikuwa adopted, hakukuwa adopted peke yake, alikuwa na the other 3 kids who were also adopted. So the younger of those kids akakufa, who was a boy, and that thing took a toll on Genene. Apparently it was like alikuwa the only person mwenye alikuwa na accept or something. She used to complain of not really being liked by the family. So this boy who died, it's kind of the mtu mwenye alikuwa namkubali, mtu alikuwa nampenda na everything else. So it took a toll on her, and this boy had died of cancer. So wakati amekufa na cancer, Genene Jones akatake it into her mind, yani ni kama ilimuingia kwa akili that akiendelea kufanya hii kazi ya beautician, kushikashika hizi chemicals and everything else, pia yatashika cancer. So she stopped this job and akadecide kufanya another job, which was a vocational nurse. So akaenda vocational nurse studies, and this vocational nurse studies, kulingana venye nime research, it's kind of going to a school for nursing, but for a specific thing, kama maybe ni injuries hiyo tu, alafu it's done like niliona ni kama 1 year peke yake and you're done with the studies. You know, after finishing she got a job kwa hospital inaitwa Methodist. So hapa Methodist Genene Jones alidevelop a certain character yenye iko inaeleweka, because yeye ni nurse, and remember nurses wapeanangi prescriptions ama wapeanangi nini yani wao ndio wana administer drugs nini, but hizo prescription mtu ni mgonjwa nini, that's the work of the doctor. Now what happened, she took the job of a doctor. Yani yeye alikuwa anaangalia daktari, anaangalia patient, anaanza kuprescribe, anapeana wrong medication, yani anafanya tu vitu zake. But according to Genene, alikuwa ana fancy, yani ana fancy hiyo job ya daktari, because sasa ulikuwa unapata anafurahia hiyo yani alikuwa anaona daktari akona the right to choose who lives and who dies. So yeye alikuwa na feel anakuwa na feel hata mimi nataka kukuwa na hiyo feeling. I want to be the gap between life and death. In short, alikuwa na play God. So each time akaanza kuwa na lot of conflicts between her and the doctors, and after 8 months she was asked to resign. What was asked to resign ama wanavutwa job? I think she was lucky. She was asked to resign. So hii hospital at Methodist Hospital alifanya kazi for only 8 months and she left this job. I remember guys, hata hapa Kenya, when we want to go the westernized countries and everything else, many people go as nurses because kuna elderly and all this. So nursing is a very lucrative job yenye yani unapata ni job, niseme career yenye unaweza pata job rahisi sana. So on 30th October of 1978 akapata job kwa an hospital that went by Bear University Hospital, and this word Bear ukiandika chini inaandikwa kama Baxter. So hii time yote anafanya job pale, she gained this ndasemaje favor with the head nurses and everything else, because now yeye alikuwa anaonyesha akona utu sana, because there's a time it is said that alikuwa na kuna mtoto alikuwa amekuja akiwa na scissors and everything else. Scissors inasemaje? Hiyo scissors hiyo seizure. Whatever. Yeah, that's a better one. Convulsions. So, each time I develop physical convulsions and everything else, this child eventually died. Wakati mtoto alikufa, Genene cried her eyes out looking at the body of this child, and in a very, it was peculiar, because watu hawakuelewa. It's not that nurses wengine ufurahia watoto wakikufa, but walishindwa, like, she was so attached to this child all of a sudden after he had died. Alafu wakati the parents came, took the body and everything else, they are trying to understand what happened. Genene Jones alichukua huyo mtoto, like aligrab mtoto kutoka kwa mkono ya the parents na akakimbia to the hallway all the way to the morgue. So hii incident ilifanya the head nurses were feel like this woman akona roho ya utu, yani akona tasemaji za remorseful person, mtu akona huruma, mtu ako caring, mtu ako nini. So akagenio favor, but in real sense alikuwa na behave kwa the head nurse, but the surrounding, yani alikuwa anafanya vitu zake, alikuwa na dirty jokes. Saa zingine usiku unaweza sikia anaambia mtu ati this child will not stay till morning, and then that child will die. That specific child mwenye amesema hivyo ndiye atakufa. So people started really wondering, kwani what's up? So on May of 1981, now this is when things started happening, because she was giving, hiyo amesha gain hiyo trust, amefanya nini, so apaka akapatiwa shift yake ya kuoperate, like alikuwa amepatiwa shift ya from 11 to 3 p.m. So a time, this is when now emergencies, deaths, children convulsing, children, yani vitu zikuwa tu zina happen within hii hour yenye alikuwa in charge of the hospital. Remember, this is a pediatric intensive care for kids. Sitaki kujuma ulimi. Now kids started dying, yani within hiyo time yenye yani hizo deaths zilikuwa zina happen wakati Genene Jones alikuwa kwa shift at her watch. So people started speculating, why is it that kids are dying kwa shift ya Genene Jones? And Genene Jones alikuwa najaribu ku blame it on other nurses, but now wakati alipatiwa shift, it was very hard for her to blame others, because each shift alikuwa in charge. So now what happened in this time, the nurses now started referring to Genene's shift as the death shift. Guys, nataka uelewe, yani msichana ndio mama alikuwa na shift yake, na after kukuwa na shift yake, hii shift ikakuwa referred to as the death shift. And I'm wondering why the hospital didn't even wonder why it is called like that, why not other shifts. And Genene Jones alikuwa akuna hiyo ndasemaje, akuna hiyo conviction that yeye ndio ni kama ana play God, who lives, which kid lives, which kid dies, which one sijui ata inject nini. Alikuwa tu anafanya vitu zake. So what happened, on one particular time, there was a child who went by the name Rolando Santos, and Rolando Santos alikuwa amekuja OC because alikuwa na intestinal problems. So hii issue alikuwa amekuja previously, so it's like a check-up and everything else. So this particular day when this boy came to the hospital, alienda kuonwa na Genene Jones, na Genene Jones akaminject with something, and nobody really understood ni nini aliminject. generally when you go to the hospital you don't keep asking the doctor or the nurse hiyo ni nini umemdunga, hiyo ni nini. But by the way, with this story it makes me want to always ask ni nini mnanidunga ama nini mnadunga mtoto wangu, because mtu anaweza kuwa anakuua na ujui. So what happened hii time, kumbe alikuwa amedunga mtoto na heparin, and heparin is a medication that is injected to people who has blood clotting disorders. So now this child didn't have this problem, and so alianza kubleed like profusely, yani ana bleed mdomo, macho, yani alikuwa na bleed. So akakimbishwa kwa intensive care unit, and wakati walimcheck, a doctor noticed that this boy had been injected with heparin, and he was able to reverse the effects of this drug, and he was saved. So when this child was saved, now the hospital noticed that not even the hospital, but this doctor actually reported to the hospital administration, akasema something is going on kwa ward ya watoto ama the intensive care ya watoto, because somebody intentionally injected a child with heparin. But now, because I think hata hiyo kitu iko Kenya, whereby I'm taking your bad publicity. Guys, nimekuwa away for a while. Maneno nanipita shule. Okay, yani so hiyo kuogopa hiyo nini publicity mbaya and everything else, they did not really, follow up kitu nasema police style, like go report and do everything else. So walichezea chini ya maji. What they did, they wali lay off all the vocational nurses, including Genene Jones, because now they didn't want Genene Jones to also feel like alikuwa accused or alikuwa doubted on what alikuwa anafanyia watoto. So wote walikuwa released, but he being released, guys, sijui niwaambiaje, he being released, this lady actually alipatiwa position in another hospital, a branch of the same hospital, but she refused. After refusing, akapatiwa sasa hiyo recommendation. You know very well, when you are working in a certain institution, alafu ende place ingine, if you are given a recommendation, it's very easy for you to get a job somewhere else. So hii time yote, actually it is said that alikuwa ameua watoto wengi under her watch, but nobody really could say ni yeye. Nobody could pinpoint her, because remember, in intensive care unit. So hata wewe ukiwa na mgonjwa usi, doesn't have to be a child. Ukiwa na mtu yeye usi, maybe ako kwa life support, mtoto ako kwa vitu fulani ama mtu mzima, somehow penye umekaa you are 50-50. Unaweza pigiwa simu ameenda, unaweza pigiwa simu ameamuka, anything can happen. So it didn't really trigger that feeling of kids are being killed. So wakati alipatiwa hizi recommendation and everything else, akaenda to another hospital, not really hospital but a clinic. And nini clinic mpya venye tu daktari anaweza maliza studies zake, kama Dr. Raf hapa afungue clinic aniite nenda nikaue watoto. So see, this is a clinic that was was owned by a doctor who went by the name of Kathleen. Sasa Kathleen apparently alikuwa anamjua from hiyo intensive care unit, but now pia yeye ange pinpoint aseme she was the one who was doing what was hizo my emergencies, my deaths, manini zenye zilikuwa zina happen pale. So akamwandika job. Sasa hapa ndiye aliplay the hero kwa hii clinic hapa. Yani yeye, what she used to do, she could inject a kid with something, then reverse it, yani making her look like this Kathleen doctor cannot live without her. Yani she knows how to deal with everything, every emergency. Then within like a week, now things started going like the other hospital, emergencies, deaths, convulsions, everything. Yani vitu tu zina happen. So it happened that this child who went by the name Chelsea McClellan. So Chelsea alikuja hosi, like venye naweza chukua mtoto wangu nimpeleke clinic. Apparently hiyo time she was about a month old, and akaenda hapo hosi, akakuwa taken care of nini. So wakati alifika hiyo hosi, this lady who went by the name Genene Jones, wakati the mother anaongea na daktari, Genene Jones alichukua mtoto akaenda na yeye kucheza. So unajua ni clinic ndogo, it's not really your packed at, there are so many patients, the nurse is busy, everything else. So alikuwa na hiyo time hata kucheza na mtoto. So wakati alichukua mtoto akaenda huko nyuma kucheza nini, All of a sudden the baby is not breathing. Sijui the baby has, what has happened. And so many things started happening. But Genene Jones, whatever alimu-inject, and the baby was okay. And you know, hiyo kukua hero ikakuwa so, yani ni kitu watu washajua, this lady is the best, she's the best nurse so far. You know, hapo Texas, yani watu walianza kumbelieve because of the clinic yenye alikuwa ameenda, because ukumbuka huko kwingine huko Bear alikuwa destroy everything, yani alikuwa mess, but now nobody could say ni yeye. So now what happened kwa hiyo, si mtoi akapona, akarudishwa home. 9 months later, this same child akarudishwa sasa immunizations kawaida kama uko na mtu mdogo, and at this point this lady Genene Jones, I think alikuwa na sijui ni spirit, alichukua mtoto akamunject with something. And you remember, when you are not a doctor or a nurse, there's so many things you will not understand, including me. Vitu mingi hata ukidunga mimi mwenyewe sijui umenidunga nini. So wakati alidunga mtoto, this child started convulsing. Alafu inasemekana that not his but a heart stopped. So wakati hati yake ili stop, Genene Jones akaanza kukimbia akisema a heart has stopped, a heart. So people were wondering, this child came here walking, so how come hati yake imestop haje, how? So akakimbizwa hosi. Wakati alipelekwa hosi, now to a main hospital, remember this is a clinic, and the doctor who was there noticed that this child had been injected by a medication that went by the name succinylcholine. And this is a medication yenye inatumika kwa watoto wenye wako si watoto, but not even kids, but grown-ups kwa theater. It's like anesthetic. Hiyo jina. Hiyo wenye umesikia yenye imepita hivyo. So inatumika kwa theater. It's like paralyzes your whole system. Venye mtu anadungwanga unasikia siku hizi wengine udungwa nusu, sijui nini, especially wenye anaza udungwa nusu whatever. Mimi I go natural. So amedungwa hiyo shindano. So the doctor alinotice amedungwa hiyo shindano because even his diaphragm, it's hiyo medication yani nitasemaje, ina collapse every sijui niseme every organ ama ni nini. So when the diaphragm ili collapse, and now the child could not breathe, because that's what we use for breathing, and the heart stopped and she died. It became really alarming because this hospital imekuwa na numerous emergencies wakipeleka the same. Ni kama venye unaweza kwa area yenye mko na one main hospital na one clinic. So when this clinic there's an emergency, you obviously go to this hospital. So what happened? This hospital noticed that there are so many emergencies from this particular hospital. So they decided to report like there's something wrong with this clinic. So remember, Chelsea is dead. So Chelsea akazikwa, and before tuende what happened after amezikwa, guys, the nature of a succinylcholine medication is that wakati umeinjectiwa kwa system yako, it takes 3 to 7 seconds to kill you. And wakati isha ingia kwa system yako, ikisha kuua, it dissolves into your system and it can never be traced. Like hakuna mtu ufanyiwe autopsy atupatikane sijui ulikufa na nini, haiwezekani. Like uwezi trace kwa system ya mtu. So it was very hard for anyone to trace succinylcholine in those kids. So it means that this lady Genene Jones really knew what this medication was. Hata it seemed like hiyo hosi alikuwa previously, she really used it a lot, hiyo succinylcholine and heparin. So now hii time si mtoi amekufa, mtoi amezikwa, and in the same hospital there came a doctor, a Swedish doctor to be precise, and this doctor had come up with a research that showed how you can find succinylcholine in an embalmed body. So what the authority decided is to exhume Chelsea's body. So when Chelsea's body was exhumed, that's now when they did an autopsy on the child, and they found out that there was traces of succinylcholine, and that clinic was brought to book, and wakafanya hiyo research, wakafanya investigations, wakafanya nini. Now the doctor Kathleen said that Genene alikuwa amemwambia achukue order ya succinylcholine. So she was told to go and check kama hizo succinylcholine zilitumika ama kama ziko kwa nitasemaje, kama ziko kwa shelves ama zilitumika. But wakati waliangalia walipata zote ziko, but she noticed that some bottles had been punctured. Unajua hiyo tu nini tuchupa twa medication ya kudunga nacho tunakuanga tudogo alafu juu ni turaba. So it's like alikuwa anadunga shindana anatoa hiyo dawa alafu anadunga anaweka saline water, and saline water ni maji tu na chumvi anaweka, like ana replace in real sense ametumia. But now kwa books or to hiyo penye una listing what you've used nini prescriptions ama patients and everything else, there's nowhere that showed that this lady Genene Jones aliwaitumia succinylcholine. So she never wrote anywhere alikuwa ametumia hii medication. So that's when alishikwa, and wakati alishikwa it was noticed that she had actually killed other kids, and kuna majina mingi, yani kids, so many kids had died, and I think 40 to 60 kids died under her watch. And on May of 1983 she was arrested, and kulikuwa na hiyo hearing nini everything else that happens in court. And wakati alikuwa court now Chelsea remember ameshikwa sababu ya Chelsea, not really any other case. So wakati alikuwa anapeana, wakati the mother to Chelsea anapeana, the way the daughter was crying, talking to her, just remember it's a 9-month-old child, na anamwambia please help me, I'm dying. It's very painful because this is a child, and you know when you are a mother or you are a father and you have a child, I think kids tend to believe that you are their God, that you can save them from anything. And it's even worse when you know very well hakuna kitu unaweza msaidia, like your child is dying in your hands and there's nothing you can do. So this woman cried, explaining saying the way mtoi wake alikufa in so much pain and everything else. And it is said that the whole courtroom, everybody was in tears except Genene Jones, who stood there expressionless. Yani yeye ni kama anashindwa monalia, like. But in 1984 she was given 99 years in prison for the death of Chelsea the death of Chelsea, and 60 years for tampering with Rolando Santos, the boy who was rescued in the other hospital. And from that time amekuwa akitaka parole and everything else. But the people convicted her actually said that they wished that at that time when this thing happened kungekuwa na death penalty because wangempatia, but at that time hakukuwa na death penalty as far as a person who had killed a child. Guys, umesikia je story? Yani for me, I think something happened to her. The fact that she was adopted, the fact that alikuwa na feel like she wasn't loved. I think alifika point alikuwa nataka kugenio, yani kujiweka in a position yenye ana feel important. But I don't know how feeling important and killing kids are connected. But kila mtu ana reason kivyake. But I hope ume like his story. I hope you teach your kids well so that they don't turn out to be things that are very much like a nuisance to the society. I appreciate your support. Give this video a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, share. Now, don't skip the ads. Love you.